Welcome back to Carneades.org. Today we're going to be continuing with our series, Dumbfounding Definitions, Dizzying Distinctions, and Diabolical Doctrines, a series sorting through some of the jargon of philosophy. In this video we're going to be looking at who were the Peripatetics. Now, in modern parlance, the term peripatetic means one who travels from place to place or walks around a lot. While this has some connection to a style of teaching while walking around used by some ancient Greek philosophers, such as Protagoras, generally when a philosopher speaks of a peripatetic, they are referring to a philosopher of Aristotle's school. The Peripatetics are generally divided into two groups, those who originally followed Aristotle and those who were part of the Aristotelian revival 200 years later, and we'll briefly touch on both groups in this video. So, despite being Plato's student, Aristotle did not take over Plato's academy, but rather went off to start his own school. This school was held in the Peripatos, or covered walkway of the Lyceum, an area of Athens with a temple of Apollo and a gymnasium. Aristotle ran the Lyceum until 1 year before his death, when the death of Alexander the Great caused instability in Athens and rising anti-Macedonian sentiment, leading him to flee the city. Following Aristotle's departure, his student Theophrastus took over the Lyceum. Theophrastus arguably was the first peripatetic, and he faithfully built upon Aristotle's work, writing more on logic than Aristotle and expanding his work in physics and metaphysics. Theophrastus exchanges Aristotle's teleological view of the world, that everything has a purpose, for one which describes the world as a living organism, that the universe is one divine thing with a soul following a single set of laws. Strato of Lampsacus took over the school after Theophrastus. He oversaw greater shifts in the school's teachings, focusing more on the empirical and scientific elements of Aristotle's philosophy. Strato built Aristotle's works into a full account of materialistic, atheistic, mechanistic empiricism. Some blame Strato for the school's decline following his time as the leader, while others applaud his emphasis on scientific pursuits. And while some blame Strato for the school's decline, others blame the supposed loss of Theophrastus's copies of Aristotle's original works, which were inherited by Neleus of Sepsis in the Troad upon Theophrastus's death. With the loss of these kind of original works of Aristotle, the argument goes that the school lost some of its connection to its roots, and therefore, while it didn't cease to be, it faded back into a much more generic school of philosophy, similar to many other schools that were present in Athens at the time. Now, the works of Aristotle were revived by Andronicus of Rhodes sometime around 70 BCE, who wrote an influential commentary on the works of Aristotle. This led to renewed interest in Aristotle and many new commentaries on his work. These commentaries were generally more conservative, sticking more closely to Aristotle's original teachings, as opposed to the initial Peripatetics who were trying to kind of expand and build on the works of Aristotle. These late Peripatetics can be found as late as 200 CE, and their writings contributed to the lasting influence of Aristotle's works, though they were eventually consumed and incorporated into the Neoplatonist movement. So generally, if you see a philosopher referred to as a peripatetic, it means they were probably a follower of the school of Aristotle, likely with a greater emphasis on his empirical and scientific work, though not necessarily. What do you think? Is the only reason that we think Aristotle is important because his works were the ones that survived or had a lot of commentaries? Or is there something special about his ideas which led to the decline of the Lyceum and their Peripatos when their focus shifted and when they lost that connection to the works? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. If you like this video and you want to see more, go ahead and subscribe, hit the notification bell so you can stay up to date whenever we publish a new video. Watch this video and more here at Carneades.org, and stay skeptical, everybody.